Good evening to all of you. I'm very happy to be here on the Entab platform speaking about mental wellness. I am Akshara Damle. I am a consultant psychologist and also a TEDx speaker. I have been working in the area of mental wellness for last 5 years and have been addressing various psychological issues uh, right from say depression, anxiety, stress, lack of focus, and so on. Thank you, Nimisha. Uh, so, I have also been working with the students, and specifically in a school, I will be sharing the story of that at a later point of time because I have kept the focus of today's speech as the experiment that I have conducted in a school because maybe that can be replicable in other schools as well. In general, if we look at the present situation, it's been more than 25 days that we have been quarantined or observing the lockdown period, and there are a lot of challenges that are coming up. Though initially there was panic buying, which got settled down later on, and there are a lot of other issues that are happening in the country in different parts of the country. But in general, what we see in terms of mental wellness is one is say depression that is very visible among many, fear that is again very significantly seen issue. Apart from that, anxiety, stress, confusion, guilt, obsessive compulsive disorder, loneliness, anger, lack of self-worth. There's so many variety of psychological disorders that we are witnessing in our societies, irrespective of the culture or irrespective of the states they belong to. The primary reason that I see is earlier what was happening is we were busy in our own life. We had too many things to do, and all of a sudden, we have been given a kind of a break where we didn't even have sufficient time to even say slow down. We were just stopped all of a sudden, and that break has become a very big shock for all of us that we do not know how to spend time. Earlier, the question was, or the concern was, we do not have time, but at the same time, presently, we have a lot of time and we do not know how to utilize it. So, I will give you a brief idea initially about how we can utilize this time, and later on, I will be speaking more specifically about how students can utilize their time, how parents you can utilize their time, and later on how teachers can utilize their time, and also about the happiness club that I have come up with, and related aspects, and also I will be able to answer the questions that come across on the platform. So one major thing that all need to understand is earlier we had a set pattern of routine which got broken, and later on we have not been most of us have not been able to catch up with the lockdown period in terms of setting up a routine for ourselves. Say earlier we had to get up at a certain point of time to go to school, college, or work, but now we do not have to do that, though a few people may be working from home, but at the same time the issue is there is a lot of flexibility with it coming with it, because of which people are struggling to figure out how to have a specific routine. Another thing is, say when it comes to physical fitness or physical exercise, a lot of people had a habit of going to gym to work out. Now all the gyms are closed and we do not know how to and one of the major contributors is lack of sleep, though it is supposed to be on the other side. The situation should be different, that we should be able to sleep better because we have more relaxed time, but at the same time we are seeing a lot of youngsters being sleep deprived or sleepless because of various issues. Now this has to be set right, because the moment you sleep at a specific time and wake up at a specific time, that will have an impact on the quality of sleep. And what I have personally observed, and also there are a few evidences to show that quality of sleep has a direct relation with the mental wellness. You can also observe that if you didn't have a good sleep on some day, then you will be more frustrated or irritated, or you will be restless. So all these things will happen if you're a little sleep deprived. So always ensure that you sleep at a specific time and also wake up at a specific time. This is one. The second is, always try to eat healthy, but don't eat too much. Many times what is happening is, since we are at home, we are trying to cook all different things every day, mostly oily items, and also we are buying a lot of fried items like chips, packaged products, which are also not good for our health in general. So that is another thing that we need to look at. So eat healthy, drink enough water so that you are hydrated. And apart from that, also you can engage in yourself in all the cleaning work or other works which will give you some physical activity. That is one, with regard to setting up routine. Always, of course, most of us are connected over Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, and many other social media. And also, a lot of people have been calling each other, maybe their relatives, friends, and so on, which is a very good thing. Continue to do that. Don't engage too much again, but stay, spend sufficient time for being connected with your family members and friends. Apart from that, engaging in hobbies is another real need for today. That many times when I ask my clients or other people or trainees when I go for training programs, that what are your hobbies, then people have very limited hobbies, like listening to music, watching TV, watching movies is my hobby. So these are all passive hobbies. Say when I talk about hobbies, you should have active hobbies like singing, dancing, picturizing, or drawing pictures, or say any other hobbies where you are actively engaged rather than passively engaged. Because listening to music is like, just you can set up a playlist and the device will go on playing the music for you, and you will continue to listen to it. But it's basically a passive thing that is happening, unless you are a musician who is grasping the things that are happening, or that are being presented in the music performance. So please ensure that you are engaged with an active hobby rather than a passive hobby. So that is up to you what you have to engage with, whether it is reading, writing, that is also fine. But you ensure that you engage with an active hobby. And also, one more major contributors in the mental illness or upsetting or bringing mental disturbances, the series that are coming up in apps like Netflix, Amazon Prime, or Eros, or any other app for that matter. I am not against all these apps. In fact, I also watch a lot of shows on these platforms, but at the same time, there should be a limited period where you watch all those things. But and at the same time, you also engage yourself for other activities. Pranayama, yoga, and dhyana. These are the very essential and useful things for us to engage or having a very good mental health. So you can always practice that, not a problem. You can practice Surya Namaskar uh, and also pranayama, different techniques of pranayama, and meditation techniques. Maybe I think another speaker has already spoken about mindfulness, so I will not get into uh, say what are the meditation techniques that you can practice, because it is already discussed. Now I will come to more other parts of mental wellness. Now I want to categorize with regard to the mental wellness of students, parents, and teachers. Now, what is happening with students? Boredom is one of the major contributors in the aspect of lives of the students. And in many parts of the country, especially those who are studying in state syllabus, they are struggling a lot. I mean, the students in the 10th standard are struggling a lot, especially since I belong to Bangalore. I can see students in the 10th standard who are struggling because their exam has not got over, and they have to continue to prepare for their exam, but there is no energy, there is no enthusiasm. Everywhere you are listening to all negative stories, that lot of corona cases are coming up, and so issues are it's negative issues are increasing around in the environment. That is also contributing to their negative energy, increasing of negative energy. So a lot of students are struggling with this, so they will have to come up with more specific and rigorous routine where they ensure that their study or the quality of study and whatever they have studied has not forgotten, rather it gets more sharpened so that they are more prepared for the exam. Because say it is a common tendency, even when I was a student, we always used to feel that, can I get 1 or 2 days more? So just before the exam, this is a feeling that if I get 1 or 2 days more, I will crack the exam, or I will be more prepared for the exam. But now the situation is we have got so much of time that we do not know, or especially the students do not know how to utilize it or how to make it more productive. So this is one. And at the same time, students are also going restless because they're generally the energy of students are very high, especially the school going students. And now they have to be locked up in the house, and it becomes very difficult for them not to get out of the houses for playing and stay at home. And many of them are becoming mostly isolated, and they are engaging with say devices like video game or tablets or laptops and so on, again, which is not a very healthy thing to happen. And now coming to the parents, this is the time, say especially the April and May is the time for summer camps. A lot of organizations do organize summer camps, and parents feel it very convenient and comfortable to send their kids to these kind of camps, so that they get engaged over there, and it becomes very handy to uh, handle the children when they come back to home. But now what has happened, no summer camps at all, and children are at home, and parents do not know how to engage with them or how to spend the whole day with them, or uh, they are not able to match with the energies of the children. Generally, in a summer camp, what happens is many resource persons do come over there and teach different skills to the students, whether it is with regard to origami, whether it is kirigami, or singing, dancing, acting. So there are multiple skills that are being taught in a summer camp, or even it is with regard to painting, or also making some say any other kind of paper cutting and other things. So what I would suggest to the parents is, you start becoming resource persons. Say in the internet, in especially in YouTube, you get a lot of videos teaching or giving some guidance about all these aspects. Try to explore these things and become resource persons for your children. Say engage one day in maybe origami, like folding the papers and coming out with something, some art kind of thing. And the kirigami is cutting the paper and coming out with another art piece kind of thing. Or also you can come out with say, if you can get access to, or even if you can collect some mud, then you can try clay modeling, even though it may not be a proper clay. Or you can try out all these things so that you become more resourceful and your children also engage the holiday in a more fruitful way. My more another concern with regard to the teachers, because I am also in touch with a lot of teachers because I have been working with schools. And what has happened is, teachers are those individuals who get to meet young, energetic children every day so that they stay energetic all the time. Now, what has happened is, now there is no interaction with the children. though a few schools have started online classes for them, but many times it becomes very difficult to engage in an online platform, whether it is Zoom or similar kind of platforms, because a real class is a different one, and a virtual class is a different one, and especially when it is being conducted for, say, children till the age of 10th or 12th standard. It always has to be a live class, so that the energy will be a totally different level. So what I suggest to the teachers is, apart from whatever you're doing in terms of online classes and other things which may have come as a part of mandatory thing for you to conduct, what you can actually do is come up with new ideas with regard to how you can teach syllabus in a better way. So I had put forward this idea in one of the schools. It's called Sneha School in Mangalore district in Karnataka. What I had done is I had suggested the teachers of humanities and the science. Say, for example, industrial revolution is a part of humanities, the social science, and the engine or invention of engine, heat engine or steam engine, is a consequence of industrial revolution, or is aligned or is associated with industrial revolution. So similarly, there are many things that are happening in the science as well as in the social science simultaneously. So can you collaborate all these things so that you can teach the concepts more holistically? So this is just an idea that I have. Maybe I can elaborate if you are interested some other time, because we have a limited time for today's live session. So the teachers from different disciplines can join together and make more holistic syllabus in terms of teaching to the children. Maybe come up with the PPTs or something else. Any kind of mode is fine, but see if you can merge these two sub disciplines so that the information is more complete. And this is one. And also you can have other exchanges, like multidisciplinary aspect can be brought in into the education in the coming days, especially after the lockdown, because I think we will be opening the schools at a little later point of time, so we will have to catch up with the lesser time that is available during the next academic year. So if you can merge the topics, that will be a good contribution for the students. Now I'll talk about say for another 10 minutes about happiness club that I have come up with, so that maybe if you can implement at your homes, that will be a very good uh, outcome of this talk for me, and it will be a sense of fulfillment for me as well. So it is always said an empty mind is a devil's workshop, so we have to keep ourselves engaged. So the previous exercises and other things was discussed for the same reason, but now I am coming to more deeper thing. So this idea came up based on the self-help group model that is vibrant in the rural India. So you must have heard about it, that a lot of self-help groups are very, very active, which have become tools for financial independence in the rural India, especially for the women. Now, what I was thinking is, if people can join together once in a week for a kind of self-help group, then why not we join for mental wellness? Because my concern is there is still a taboo attached with mental illness. Say if somebody has some kind of mental illness, we start labeling them, we start blaming them, we start isolating them from our communities. This should not happen. So what I feel is mental health has to be practiced in the communities, in the families, in the schools. So the idea is very simple: sit together and speak about your emotions. And nobody will share any judgment about each other's emotion. It's all about receiving and giving. Say if I have any emotions, say to every day evening, family members can join together and sit, say speak about their emotions that they undergone during the day. Say from morning, say morning I was feeling lonely, I was feeling numb, I was feeling disappointed. So there can be multiple feelings that keep coming during a day's time. So sit together and express your emotions. That also gives a space for your emotions to come out, and at the same time you are aware of each other's emotion and mental state of mind, and it also helps in getting more connected with individuals. So this is the happiness club concept that I have come up with. We have done a pilot in Sneha school in Sulya, a place called Sulya in Mangalore district, and it has been very successful with the 10th standard students, that their anger issues, their anxieties, their vulnerabilities have naturally come down because they were doing it regularly. So I think during this quarantine period, I think if we all can do this at our homes, or you can join on a Zoom call and start practicing it, that is also not a bad idea. Or any other platforms, because I have heard that Zoom has a kind of a privacy issue. So any other platform for that matter, then now there are multiple platforms of similar kind. So if you can join over there and start sharing your emotions more specifically, rather than say, many times what happens is, when somebody asks how are you, we say we I'm doing good. Now we do not know what is this good all about. So if you're feeling pathetic, then develop this habit of saying that, look, I'm not really feeling good today, or look, I'm not feeling or I'm feeling pathetic today. Be very open and vocal about your emotions. That will help you in acknowledging your emotions, experiencing them in the right way, and also if they are negative emotions, you can always come back to the normalcy very quickly the moment you start acknowledging your emotions. So I think that is one major outcome uh, that I expect from this talk, and I'm sure you will experiment it. And you can also reach out to me. I'm available on many of the social media platforms, whether it is Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, or so. So you can reach out to me and see how it goes, and we can work it out, so that if happiness clubs start happening in each every school across the country, if it starts happening in every household, then we can certainly we can certainly contain the increasing number of mental illness in our country, and certainly come up with more vibrant society by and large. I thank Entab platform, Entab Campus Care platform, for having me here, and it is a very lovely session. And I think thank you for all your positive comments. I'm open for questions if you have any, because I have spoken many things very briefly, so that I mean, I basically wanted to cover a lot of things, so that if anybody is interested, then we can discuss it more deeper at a later point of time. So I'm open for questions if there are if you want to ask something. All right, I think uh, yeah, any any questions? Great, I'm happy that a lot of people have joined this session, uh, and namaste to all. And yeah, sir, if a child likes playing more than studies, how can we keep them motivated at this point of time? Interesting question. Do we really need to motivate them for studying? Is my question, because I feel if the child wants to play, I would allow it to play rather than make it to study. But I would like to focus on another aspect here, that is reading habit. I mean, I've been observing that the present day children or students are not reading, or not have not cultivated the habit of reading, because even in the education system we have been using mostly the digital devices, like say we have TV screens or LED screens, LCD screens, or projectors in the school classrooms. So mostly things are happening mostly audiovisual. Psychologically speaking, it may enhance the quality of learning in terms of both echoic memory and iconic memory. Iconic memory refers to the visual memory, and echoic memory is with regard to the hearing. So both may have, I mean, audiovisual mode may have a positive impact in terms of this, but at the same time, we are not focusing more on reading habit. So, what I would suggest is we can have, say, make the children to play in terms of reading. Say, can you finish one paragraph quickly, so that how quickly you can finish one paragraph, or how quickly you can finish reading one story, and how can you recreate the story, or how can you come up or reproduce the story. So there can be multiple activities with reading which we need to explore. So it's not just reading. Say once you can read it, say especially when we are talking in terms of children, we generally tend to take storybooks. So if you are reading one story, I mean, make the child to read the story, and then you also read the story, then have an interaction about the story, in terms of ask questions to the child. What did you read? What happened to this character in this situation? So you can actually check whether the child is reading more carefully or simply glancing through the pages. And later on, you can recreate the story in your own way, or you can come up with another similar story which will be a kind of creative, I mean, promoting creative energy of the child. I think that would be a better idea if the child is liking to play but not to study, so that at the same time, while we are playing, we are also making the child more cognitively active. Yeah, I have a question about main teaching techniques to teach students in proper way. Um, Sri Hanumanji, I'm not really clear main teaching techniques in the sense. Can you please elaborate on that? What's your advice to older generation who find it difficult to cope up with the current generation psychology? Of course, generation gap is a major issue among many, or in most of the families. And yes, the children are growing faster, in the sense they are becoming more mature uh, at an early stage than what we grew up. So it is a challenge for all of us to cope up with the current generation psychology. So what we need to understand is we need to align ourselves with the present developments that are happening. So can we actually look at what is happening and what are we exposing our children to? So if we are more mindful about what are the children being exposed to, then we will be able to cope with it. I have heard very young children talking about very say mature things. So I think we need to first check what are the exposures that they have, and then slowly start coping with their psyche or the mindset. Yeah, I'm feeling lazy nowadays, as I'm very energetic person. Would like to recommend us some good exercise or power booster foods. Okay. Uh, yes. Another client of mine also had asked a similar question, that she is and a person who is always outgoing and an extrovert, and it has become very difficult for her to stay back home, lock herself in her house without meeting any friend per se. So I understand your question as an energetic person have being locked down. What you can do is say, I do not know what are the circumstances that are present around you. So what you can do is, uh, say, engage in activities like dancing. Dancing is is an exercise or an activity that helps in removing the cathartic catharsis in us. So if you are feeling too much of frustrated or feeling lazy, start putting music, lock yourself in a room and dance. That helps you in uh, utilizing your energy in a good way, and also it energizes you more, and also laziness slowly goes away. So this is one activity that that is coming to my mind at this point of time. Psychologically also, you have we can see the impact of dancing over the mind. So I think you can engage in dancing, one. and also you can express your emotions in terms of pictures. Now I also focus mostly on picturizing your emotions, because the moment you start picturizing, a lot of things that are suppressed in your subconscious and unconscious comes out in the form of a picture. So please start drawing pictures, even if you do not have color pens or crayons or other watercolors. Try drawing with the multiple pens so that it comes out in some or other form. And yeah, with regard to food, I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm not a right person. However, I would suggest you to eat more melons, like cucumber, watermelon, or muskmelon kind of fruits, which will certainly help in keeping you mentally healthy. If a teenager answers in just yes or no and shows no interest, what should the parent do to make the child active so that the child participates in family talks and grows interest in studies? It is a bit complicated case in terms of why it is saying yes or no is the question that we need to explore first. And since when it has started, whether any kind of experience or any incident that has happened in the child's life where child has started feeling that probably my parents or my family is not able to understand my emotions, and there is no point of expressing my emotions, so let me keep it with me. If that is the mindset, then that has to be addressed in the first place. So I think this may have to be dealt in more detail, both with the parents and also with the child, because sometimes parents may not be able to figure out what has happened, uh, for the very simple reason that as elders we not feel certain things so hurting or so I mean so disturbing, but children may find them to be disturbing. So sometimes children will be more sensitive as well. So we have to figure out what has hurt the child, or when did the child start disassociating with the family and family activities, and then slowly figure out and then make it engage. Or what you can also do is give some small task, though presently it is a little risky. If it is in a general condition, you can start giving little tasks like get the milk, or fetch the milk, or fetch the vegetables, or get some groceries. So send them to this kind of small tasks so that they start owning the responsibility with regard to the household things. Though presently it is not advisable to send your children out because they may not be as careful as you are. So but once the things get normalized, you may start engaging your child in these terms, and then slowly get into more deeper issues, why the child is not really engaging with the family issues and not in engaging in talks, and also not in terms of studies. Okay. um, our old age school teaching has to go though lot of changes in today's scenarios. Okay. Yes, two things. If you ask me whether a blackboard and a chalk is better than or an audio visual say clip that is that is being shown to the child, I have a mixed opinion. One is when you are teaching with a chalk and board, blackboard, or another say whiteboard and a marker, or any kind of board and a pen, there are two things happening. If the teacher who is teaching is capable of bringing out the visualization of whatever he or she is teaching, then that is a better way of teaching rather than showing the 3D images on a screen. Why? Because when you explain and make them to imagine, it will always enhance their creative ideas, it will enhance their imagination. The moment you are showing a 3D image or a video on a screen, the child has already got it, so it is a ready to eat kind of food. Say if you compare ready to eat and uh, say freshly cooked food, it is always freshly cooked food is good rather than a ready to eat meal. So in the same principle applies even for education. I am in favor of a teacher being able to teach more complex abstract situations or concepts in a concrete way through their own explanations and imaginations or live models, rather than audiovisual model, at least in the early days. Maybe at a later point of time, at least in the say in graduation and other things, other levels, I'm okay with the audiovisuals because they already have developed the imagination skills. But in the early stages, I would always prefer having a chalk piece and a board, and teacher have to skill up themselves so that they can make the child visualize the real imagery without having any concrete object in front of it. So that is my take on traditional teaching method and the modern methods. Presently, many a times what is happening is the teacher is just a person to switch on the TV and allow the children to watch it. So this should not happen. Teacher have to take an active role in the process of teaching, because it's always a process of learning together. Teacher is also learning along with the child. So I would always suggest a blackboard and a chalk method mostly, though you can add value with in terms of audiovisual clips. How to cope up financial stress with investment plans post COVID-19? Well, I'm not an investment expert or an economist to talk about it, but what I would suggest is what I maybe I'm talking mostly from my experiences and observations, that many things were hyped at a higher price in the before COVID time. Say, if you look at the economic situation, I think that say we can categorize this whole timeline as before COVID and after COVID and during COVID. So before COVID, I think a lot of things were financially or economically hyped with respect to their prices. So probably things are going to be normalized in the post-COVID time. Maybe we will not be able to afford luxury items. So basically, what I'm presuming is when I was in my primary schooling, my teacher had taught me, I mean, taught us, the group of students, that what is necessity, comfort, and luxury. So when we were taught, necessity was clothing, food, and other basic things, and comfort was having a bicycle to come to school, and a luxury was having a motorcycle. If a person is having a Maruti 800 car, that was a super luxury for that person at that point of time. But now car has become a necessity for many people, even people in the middle class, because affordability has had grown many folds. Now what will happen mostly in the post COVID is we will come back to the necessity, I mean redefine the terms like necessity, comfort, luxury again. And necessities will be the basic things, and comfort will be even have maybe having a car becomes a comfort, and the luxury becomes other aspects. So maybe you will, in terms of investments, you will have to consult a better person, an expert in the investment sector, because I'm not the right person to talk about it. But in terms of mindset, certainly we will be able to cope if we are mentally prepared. It's basically our flexibility of mind that actually has an impact. So recently, I was talking to a corporate employees with regard to the VUCA world: volatility, ambiguity, complexity, and uncertainty. So, when I was talking about all these concepts, I was just focusing on be flexible to whatever is coming in terms of your life, so that you will be able to accommodate. Maybe the lifestyle changes a little bit. You may have to adjust with or compromise on your luxury, but certainly you will be able to afford comfort, because things are going to be normalized, is my personal opinion. Okay. Suggest some exercises for children to maintain mental wellness for them. I have explained happiness club concept, which you can certainly uh, say implement in your houses, so that it becomes more utilitarian. I mean, it's a very practical approach towards mental wellness. I can also talk about mental wellness in a very little abstract way, but it will not be applicable for children. So what you do is engage children in say multiple things. When it comes to mental wellness, I also talk about physical wellness, because mind and body are not two different entities. So always maintain a routine where children are made to exercise in terms of physical body, and then also you can engage in multiple other activities, which I would like to share. I had actually noted down, but I forgot to mention these things, that you can come up with multiple other activities, like, say, I mean, again, these are not new things that I'm coming up with, but a traditional activity that was being practiced earlier, which we have lost in the course of time. That one is telling stories. Say, telling stories is a creative aspect. Second is building your vocabulary. So can you make do practice an exercise where including the parents as well as the child or children, can you start developing say vocabulary. Say let us only talk about the terms or words that are starting from A, B, or V, or any of the letters, so that you will build a vocabulary. So we were playing word games, so that can be done. And tables is another thing. Mathematics is, though I'm not an expert in mathematics, I have experienced and I strongly believe that mathematics is one subject that makes your mind extremely sharp. So engage in activities like asking questions, very practical questions, like, say, I'm going to a shop, I have to buy 10 chocolates which are priced at 30 rupees. Say, what is the cost? Say, for a younger child you may have simpler questions, for an older child you may have more complicated questions, but try to create these kind of activities where you engage your yourself with the child, both in terms of physical presence, also in terms of cognitive abilities. It will sharpen yourself with regard to your mind as well as your child's. So engage in this kind of activity that will help in mm, sharpening your mind as well as your child. And also learn tables. Many people have got used to calculators, or tables have become more redundant thing in today's education system. But what I feel is, the more you practice these kind of calculations, say, if you can ask randomly, say 15 20s are how much, 15 14s are how much. So this kind of table game is also a very interesting thing that we can actually practice, that will also engage your child's mind. And you can give these kind of tasks which will help them in being active and utilizing their time in more fruitful way. Right. Yes, I agree with the Kanagaraj, if I have pronounced it right, that yes, children have got exposure to a lot of information. Rather, I would say it's information overloaded, and I think we need to make them more. I mean, we have to provide a little filtered information so that they become, they will be in a position to grasp the information. Parents are more stressed, and how to help our students in such a stressful situation. Parents, I have spoken about it already, that parents are stressed because children are at home, they're with high energy, and parents do not know how to engage them with a lot of activities, because generally summer camps used to be an alternative during the holidays, and now we do not have those options. So parents have to become more resourceful, and actually parents have to transform themselves as resource persons for their children, and mutually share their each other's knowledge, and engage the children in a better way. And nothing to feel stressed about it. Actually, it's a golden time for everyone to spend time with each other and become more human. We are actually I mean, I'm at one point of at on the one side, we are also seeing some kind of animosity that is being spread, which is very negative. I personally do not uh, agree with those things, but at the same time I'm also seeing a very collective feeling that is coming up with many people, that we have started sharing small things with our neighbors. We have actually started speaking to our neighbors. I mean, in metropolitan cities, I have seen many people who do not know who are their neighbors at all. So I feel that the collectiveness has actually enhanced because of the COVID quarantine, and I feel it has to continue even when the COVID situation gets normalized, so that the collectivity is always good for mental wellness. Even the happiness club concept has been built based on the similar principles, that when we are collected, or when we are in a collective, certainly our resilience and mental wellness is on a upper pedestal than when we are isolated. Abacus is certainly helpful. Yes, I agree with you. Abacus is one the way of engaging your children in terms of mathematical skills. Yeah, I totally agree with Abacus activity as well. But Abacus has certain rules that we need to learn, and initially they also learn through an instrument. So if that is not available, then maybe a few students may find it difficult to learn. So maybe tables is easy. It doesn't need any kind of instrument or any other tool to learn it. Okay, and do we have any other questions? Great. I think mm, we are done with the questions. If you have any other questions, you can always reach out to me through Entab platform. I mean, the whole team of Entab has been very, very supportive and very cohesive. They have a wonderful team, so they will be able to connect me to all of you, whoever is having any questions or want to share uh, your feelings or your thoughts or your ideas, so that we can all work together for a better society, and actually we can work for more vibrant educational system. I thank you all. Again, thanks to Entab platform. Wish you all a very happy time during this quarantine period. Use your time more effectively, productively, and always have a healthy life. In fact, say you can always reach out to us, and in case if you are actually going through any mental trauma, you can reach out to me, so that we can work on those aspects as well. Thank you so much, and I'm very happy to be here. See you all again some other time, maybe with some other topic, anything related to mental health. I will be very happy to be here. Thank you, Ashmita, and I will be signing off. Have a great evening. See you. Bye bye.